Purchase a model year 2022, 23, or 24 tractor, combine, or sprayer, and take advantage of financing as low as 3.9 for 60 months. That's right. Get the equipment you need with affordable payments designed to keep your operation running strong. Stop by your local Landmark Implement today or visit landmarkimp.com to learn more. Experience the Landmark difference.
Automotive Solutions is Lincoln's one-stop shop for all your vehicle needs, from vinyl wraps to engine repair and maintenance. Automotive Solution offers fleet services as well as printing and graphic design for vinyl applications, plus installation of vinyl for boats, trucks, cars, and anything else you want wrapped. Perfection is their standard, and they never settle for less. Call today at 531-249-5600 or go to automotivesolutionslincoln.com to learn more. That's Automotive Solutions, 2040 Southwest 5th Street in Lincoln.
Just like Nebraska volleyball, we know what it takes to build a championship caliber team right here in Nebraska. At Lincoln Industries, we're proud supporters of Nebraska athletics and even prouder to be creating quality manufacturing jobs for our fellow Nebraskans. With outstanding health benefits, wellness programs, and a winning culture, we're bringing that Husker spirit to everything we do. Ready to join a team that's as committed to excellence as you are? Visit LincolnIndustries.com to explore all our career opportunities and be part of our growing Nebraska success story.
Golfing in 72 degrees and perfect conditions in Nebraska doesn't seem possible in December, but it is. Double Eagle Golf is your escape from the bone-chilling cold outside and a reason to keep the clubs out year-round. Book your holiday parties at Double Eagle Golf and make plans to join them for a New Year's Eve party. Gift cards make a great stocking stuffer for Christmas, and don't forget to look ahead to 2025 as spring leagues begin in February. That's all at Double Eagle Golf, inside the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street. Online at doubleeagle.golf.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Live from the 93.7 The Ticket Studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Inside the Huddle with Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Fires a pass, and it's intercepted by the Huskers at the 25, Jay Foreman. And Foreman takes it down to the 19-yard line of Oklahoma. Another big play by the Black Shirts.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Sponsored by Advanced Medical Imaging.
What up? Good morning. Jay Foreman, Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging, 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. We'll take care of all your imaging needs, and then obviously for me, put together a pretty good detailed plan to hopefully provide some pain relief. And obviously, whether your team won or lost yesterday, whether you're in pain this morning or feel relief, and then ultimately on the back end yesterday as well, Nebraska got some good news. Got another transfer portal get, and then obviously they got a game coming up here in a little bit less than a week. So a lot going on, obviously Harrison. But as far we'll start with the college football playoffs. I mean, obviously it goes without saying that the games were less than desirable, and I think it started. This is my opinion. I think it started with the seedings. I think if you had, let's say, you could probably argue that Penn State maybe could have deserved a bye over Boise. Definitely Texas, right?
Yeah, we'll see how Arizona State shakes out too.
Right. I mean, just those two. I mean, you got to think that. I think and this is nothing against Boise State and Arizona State, because I think they in their leagues they were playing the hottest and the best down the stretch versus Texas and Penn State. Obviously, Penn State lost in the Big Ten championship, and then obviously Texas lost to Georgia. And so I would say it's the lasting impression, in my opinion. Now they won their conferences, so they got it. The four major conference winners gets to stay, but Boise State's a group of five. That's where I have a problem. And the reason why I'm saying it's different is because I felt like those first weekend games would have been a lot different. Let's just say Tennessee at Boise, right? Even though the weather would have played factor, or you could even say SMU, or you could have flipped them around, SMU, at Arizona State. You could have just flipped it around and it could have been a little bit more competitive. And obviously, it started out with Notre Dame against Indiana. And we'll just start right there. Obviously, we have some, obviously firsthand experience playing against Indiana. Kirk Cignetti did not bat an eye of referencing that 56-7 game, I think, against Nebraska, which he has to. I mean, he's a confident guy, and
we were one of his best wins too. He had to kind of.
Well, yeah, I mean,
in a weird way.
but I will say this: you can't fault him for Michigan not having their stuff together when he played them, because that's the same Michigan team that went to Ohio State and was rather impressive.
Yeah.
And they weren't ranked when he beat them, or when Indiana beat them. I think Indiana is a legit team, and I would probably say, in my opinion, from watching them, and then I've watched more Indiana games than SMU, but I've watched a fair amount of both. I would probably say Indiana is probably a better team than SMU. I would like to see them play against each other.
Yeah, Rourke just had such a bad day.
Well, that was caused by Notre Dame. But that is true. But what I'm saying is with Indiana, Notre Dame, I think there was a tremendous amount of pressure on both programs, and not Kurt Cignetti, but more on Marcus Freeman. The advantage was definitely for Notre Dame, at home, weather, a little bit more experience in this type of arena. You know what I'm saying, and being in it, and just from a logistics standpoint, athletic department standpoint, and expectation standpoint, really Kirk Cignetti in Indiana, they're playing with house money, and they did not end the season well. And so you're playing a team that if you look at Notre Dame against USC, they're a lot better than Notre Dame, or looked a lot better than Notre Dame on the road at Texas A&M, as far as offensively being explosive and so forth and so on. I think the physicality was a factor. Notre Dame is a really well coached defensive team. The plays that they were making against Nebraska, as far as just getting a step or two outside the edge, a yard or two yards after contact that led to 4, 5, 6, or just the holes in the coverage just weren't there. They stifled them. It was like a boa constrictor right from the get-go.
Yeah, where they really struggled against us. Like, anytime they couldn't get it up the middle, they're killing us on the edges. Notre Dame was just shutting it down.
They were shutting I think they were very technique sound, and they tackled well. And I will say this, and it's hard to say it after when you get beat 56-7, but I think, that wasn't. I think if Indiana played Nebraska 10 times, I think that's the only time they beat Nebraska 56-7, and there might be a couple times I'd be willing to bet Nebraska, if they played their game, they could beat Indiana. But ultimately, the only game that was played was on national TV, 56-7. So I didn't walk away from it. I was more or less disappointed and mad because Nebraska didn't put on their best performance, versus we got beat by a team that was superiorly better than us. I didn't think like that, and that's what Notre Dame showed. And that's nothing against them. It's a phenomenal job by Kurt Cignetti, however he got it going this year, coming in with 14 guys from his old team from James Madison, and getting some transfer portal guys, and then obviously getting backed up by influx of NIL money right on time when he got there, and that was part of him coming. And to turn it around and to win at the rate that he did, you just can't overlook it. And he was just he just was awarded the coach of the year, deservedly so. He beat out Deion Sanders, which I think if Deion won it, you can say he deserved it as well, what he did at Colorado. But Indiana, which essentially has been a doormat of football for decades upon decades, especially in the Big Ten, and for him to do it in this new landscape of Big Ten was pretty impressive. But ultimately, they met their demise there in South Bend. And the one thing that you have to do when you play in these big games, I was fortunate enough to play in a lot of them, and obviously in college, and then be on the winning side of them. Mm-hmm. For all of them except for when we lost to Texas, and sometimes you need a reality pill. And whether it's the Nebraska volleyball team, getting to I call it the apex, right? You're getting to the very top of it, and you have to live with the disappointment and some of it's regret after a couple of days, and it's going to sting. It's going to sting for a very long time. That these games that these guys play, they'll never forget it. They will never forget it, whether you win or lose. And to be honest with you, this is the funny thing about being a winner. And if you have a true winner's mindset, right? And I would say there's two types of like former players. There's guys that will kind of like walk around and kind of tell you how good they are and then reference themselves back in that arena, or guys that just kind of know it. The guys that kind of know it, the reason why they never say it, because they're always thinking about the loss. They're always thinking about the losses. I'm telling you that right now. I talk more with some of my former teammates about 1996 and what if than 95, which is probably arguably, if it's not the best college football team of all time, it's the second best college football team of all time. But literally gloss over 95. We talk about 96. And so that's where, when you think about Indiana, when you think about SMU, when you think about Tennessee, and when you think about Clemson, and before we get into it, we'll give Dabo. Look, I always take shots at my man Dabo.
I love Dabo. I don't know why
I used to love Dabo, but when he started talking out as what and just really pushed back on the transfer portal like he was going to do it another way. And you know what? He held serve.
Yeah,
and now he has it. Said, listen, you guys went and spent all your money. I'm in the college football playoffs. And now nobody can have more money. And, big shout out to Dow. And you know what? Big shout out to Clemson. Under the radar, did not look pretty all year, but they still have championship DNA down there. And Cade Klubnik, who I saw last year up close and personal against the Miami Hurricanes when my dad went into a Ring of Fame, literally, Harrison, I don't want to say he lost the game, but he played selfishly and really made the wrong play.
Klubnik?
Yeah, Klubnik against Miami last year. He was supposed to give it to the running back, and he took it, and he got ran down at Miami, and literally,
that's right.
Dabo Swinney threw down his headset and ran down, and he's a man of faith. I saw from the field view that definitely was some cursing going on. I know he probably asked for forgiveness, but give a shout out to him, man, to him and his quarterback. It was questionable whether he was the quarterback at Clemson, so he had to deal with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Potentially getting replaced. He's gotten a ton of better, right?
He looks great.
He kept him in the game.
Yeah.
All
the way to the end. They had a nice surge at the end there, too. It was a great game.
The dude made himself some money.
Yeah.
Last night or yesterday. And then give him a shout out to Dabo. Everybody questioned him as a coach. There is still questions about him his personality-wise. I don't think as a coach he's a bad coach. I think how he has been dealing with stuff, and maybe he changes because you go through ebbs and flows. And I want to give a shout out to him because a lot of it was questioned about him both locally and nationally, and he's answered those, and he's done it very, very quietly. It's not like, hey, I showed you. He just kind of proved it to himself, and Clemson obviously looked the best out of all the teams that lost. Yeah. And that 4th and 1 play essentially was what lost them. And actually, it was the series before when they didn't score, but ultimately they weren't able to get within the 14 points. But
SMU, I actually thought, in a weird way, looked good too. It was just like, man, their quarterback was killing them. But their defense, they gave up realistically 7 points in the first half.
Yeah, SMU is that's a perfect example or a perfect point there, Harrison. When you play in these games sometimes, and this is what's a little bit different, and this is where I never really came to the answer defensively of Nebraska against Indiana. So I referenced that game because not only they played, but then also that game was kind of indicative. The scoreboard was lopsided for Penn State in SMU's perspective. You can play in those games and walk out of that stadium and be like, yeah, we got smoked, but it really wasn't that bad.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to say that because ultimately there is no tomorrow and you can't fix it immediately next week. And defensively, when you think about it, they faced long odds, a bigger team, a team that was going to try to come and impose their will physically, 2 really good running backs, and they got a pretty good receiver, and they withstood it.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the flip side, which when we talked about on the old school, it's going to come down to Jennings, their quarterback, whether he can play mistake-free football. Well, when you are in the college football playoffs. This is really how good their defense has been all year. Quiet as kept. You have a quarterback had 22 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. That's not championship type of quarterback play. It held true. And that's the same way when they played against Clemson in the ACC championship. Then they got started a little bit late and made a run and made the game close. And obviously Clemson had to hit the walk-off field goal, but you can't do that on the road. It's a little bit easier to do it on a neutral site, but you can't do that on the road. And Penn State looked really, really good. I mean, you give up 2 interceptions for touchdowns, game's over.
Yeah.
And
defensive end had 2 picks alone.
Right. 2 picks alone.
And defensive end.
2 turnovers, the chances of you winning SMU-wise is very, very small. 2 of them for TDs, it game's over. And especially because Penn State's defense is one of the best in the nation, and it allows them just to pin their ears back and rush the passer. So, these games are tricky because it's the first one. I would probably say the committee didn't get the seedings right. I don't think Alabama deserved to be in no matter what happened yesterday. I would have rather seen some other like teams play. Ole Miss, as much as they had much to complain, they had a chance to win. I think they just need to beat LSU, right?
Yeah, I'm like, you knew that was going to come. You're going to hear a bunch of SEC fans crying.
Well, it's the coaches. It's my man Lane Kiffin.
2020. Like, you guys still play until they play like 9 confererce games.
Well,
like,
I mean,
Harrison, I don't want to hear it.
I mean, at the end of the day,
you lost too many.
Alabama and Ole Miss, especially Ole Miss, they put a ton of money in the NIL. Were very aggressive. This is the year, schedule-wise, player-wise, and they duke you right down their leg.
Yeah.
Alabama, look, you're losing your coach, you lose the fabric, you lost the pretty much one of the best, if not the best, defensive players in Caleb Down. You can understand because you go from Nick Saban to DeBoer, and you knew Alabama wasn't Alabama no matter what happened when they lost to Vanderbilt, right? So then Alabama, you go to and get smoked at Oklahoma. So Alabama doesn't have any argument.
No, those are 2.
Ole Miss,
660.
Ole Miss, there's only one person to blame. The person that you look in the mirror, and that's how you lost that game. That is, I mean, to be honest with you, that's it. You lost. I think they lost to Florida too, right?
Yeah.
Well, then there you go. And then when you got Tennessee, that's 10-2, kind of backdoored their way in there, and Texas A&M was really missed an opportunity as well. The one thing about that was discouraging to me, as far as from Tennessee perspective, is the fake tough guy coming out with your shirt off, trying to say that you're not cold. I'm going to tell you, as a player perspective, if I see you over there and I know you're cold. I know for a fact you're going to be cold, because from a mindset of a player. So if we were playing, and obviously it's not very cold out today, but if it was like below 0, your job as a player is to go out there and get warmed up in the elements. Like you got to get ready for a game. So you have to know exactly what you're going to wear, how it feels. Because sometimes, we could play, say we're, in Nebraska, it's cold, but then we go to Penn State and something that I had wore here just doesn't feel right. So then I'm going to go back and change and wear the other option out there. And then that's it. That's what you're doing. If you're coming out there with no shirt on and then you put a bunch of stuff on, then you just defeated the purpose. And you're not intimidating anybody. And some of those dudes need to have the shirt on anyways. Right? You know what I'm saying? Look, yeah. Some of them have been really enjoying their break. Now, obviously, they're 300-pound dudes, but you don't need to do that, because ultimately you played like you were cold.
Yeah, well, to your point, like it looks crazy when you do the shirtless act, and then to start the game, you're wearing like warm shirts underneath.
Yeah, and the mask, and the gloves, and you're playing like you're cold.
Yeah, you look
so, right. You're playing like you're cold. Mm-hmm. And now when I played here at Nebraska, when it was cold, we weren't allowed to wear sleeves. You just had to learn how to deal with it. So we didn't practice with sleeves on.
Yeah, but that's a normal routine for you guys.
It's
not an act trying to be
tough. It was just who we are. Whether you liked it or not,
yeah.
You got to get out there and do it. These guys are trying to go, and if it's 45 degrees, they're bundled up, and then now you're trying to go up there where it's 20 degrees and act like you're not going to wear anything, and really it becomes a distraction. That's what could, because here's the deal. When you're playing in these type of championship games, the locker room is the most important thing. So if that's what you're talking about before the game, then you're not talking about the most important thing, is which is the game. Oh, what are you wearing? Oh, I'm going out with no shirt. Oh, there goes Harrison, this, and this. And then that's the focus. And what you saw at the beginning of the game was a lack of focus. You saw easy passes drop. You saw a quarterback that looked scared and cold. And there was times that Harrison, there was a play. He actually completed the pass. There's 4 guys rushing. I always use the simple math. I'm not very smart. 4 guys rushing. He threw it a quick pass. So it was like a stop route about 6, 7, 8 yards. A comeback. 3 guys tackled him. So by my math, that's 7 defenders that are accounted for. How are you telling me nobody else is open? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
There's no way, because if they're right there when he catches it and goes to the ground, there's 3 guys there. That means somebody else was running wide open, because there's only 4 defenders left, right? And you had 5 linemen, 6 and the 7. There's somebody that's got to be open. So that lets you know that you were just really playing to get the game over with. Tennessee very early did not want to play that football game.
No, it's kind of surprised me. That was the
game.
It's weird. It took so long. First game, I actually saw the weather play a major factor.
Right.
I haven't seen any of these Pac-12 schools have to deal with like really crappy weather yet. Not that I can think top of my head. That was the first time Tennessee. They looked terrible.
They did not. They looked unprepared. They looked scared, and they looked cold, and they were ready to go. If you could have just turned the place, you play PlayStation?
Yeah.
So when you get down 21-0, you got to hit reset. They were ready to reset and go home. They would have been just fine leaving after that first quarter.
They didn't even want to reset. They just fall and simulate. Screw it.
Right.
We don't care what the end
just
result
throw somebody
is.
else out there. They would have been more than happy to leave after that game. And that's what the most disappointing thing, I think. I have a couple friends that played at Tennessee that they were disappointed in.
Well, you know how many fans you had? Like, I've never seen, I shouldn't say that. Surprised to see the shoe have that much volunteers in there. And that's how that's a tough look.
Yeah. And because it's not an athletic, a big difference. And to be honest with you, when you looked at all the games, you kind of felt Notre Dame was going to win.
Yeah.
Right. And I knew Penn State was going to win.
Yeah.
Just from experience, and just Penn State was more better.
And it was at Penn State.
And Penn State, and they're more battle test, and I felt like Texas at home was just going to be too much for Clemson. So I felt like that game was going to be like 20-10 and kind of like type of game, because neither one of them was playing really good coming in.
I was going for Sweeney on that one. Not surprised by it though.
But I didn't think Clemson was playing good enough to pull the upset on the road. I just felt like the game was just going to be a rock fight.
Fair enough.
And that ended up being the best game. But the game that I thought that possibly was going to have the upset was Tennessee against Ohio State, based on everything that we've heard about their offense and defensive line. They have a really good running back. You have a quarterback in Nico that can do it all. He was a 5-star, Elite 11 quarterback, and all these 6'6" and all that. He had the great NIL deal and all that. And they had the defensive line and the offensive line. Ohio State's offensive line is beat up, and of course their defense is good, but you felt like
they haven't been able to run the ball all year. It's like,
and you felt like Tennessee's defensive line is going to be doing just fine, and Tennessee's offensive line goes against a good defense line in practice, so they should be able to win, or at least be able to pull an upset. That was boring.
It was bad. That was the team. I'm with you. I had them not only beating Ohio State, beating Oregon, and then losing to Texas inevitably. But I wasn't expecting that showing at all.
Yeah.
Like a team that, to your point, like to me, just didn't look like they wanted to be there after the second half, after the first half.
Yeah, it's a little disappointing, and that's a long, road back, and Josh Heupel is going to have some questions to answer, and Ryan Day survives another day. So we're going to take a quick break, come back on Inside the Huddle. We're going to talk about Nebraska and their portal gets, and then obviously look towards the bowl game and what to expect here in a little bit less than a week. Jay Foreman, Inside the Huddle. We'll be right back.
At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we strive to provide you with the right coverages for all your insurance needs by taking the time to meet with you and review what coverages best fit your needs. So whether you're in the market for home, auto, farm, business, life, or a combination of any of these coverages, we can help with making sure you, your family, or your business have the right coverage based on your individual needs. If you would like to review your insurance needs, please contact Ben Spurt with Farm Bureau Financial Services at 402-217-9945 or through email at ben.spurt@fbfs.com.
Make Hog Wild the centerpiece of your holiday meal. Pre-order a 4-pound boneless ham for $50, a 12-pound whole smoked turkey, or a 4-pound turkey breast for $55. A complete meal includes your choice of a whole turkey or turkey breast, mashed potatoes and gravy, stuffing, green beans or corn, and a dozen rolls for $130. Pre-order online at GoHogWild.com soon. Quantities are limited. All weights are approximate before cooking. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, Lincoln.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
Not many businesses can say they've made it 60 years, but Madsen's Bowling and Billiards can. With 12 bowling lanes and the biggest pool room in Nebraska, where else would you go to enjoy an afternoon or evening? There's a great daily specials like $2 Tuesdays, games of bowling, shoe rentals, draft beers, and tacos, all just $2 each. Have a delicious burger at EJ's Lounge before or after your bowling or pool session, and you'll leave satisfied. Madsen's Bowling and Billiards at 47th and Dudley.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Dreaming of a green Christmas this year? Make it a reality with Acres. We're offering 0% for 60 months financing on most new John Deere compact tractors, Gator UTVs, and mowers. From moving snow to landscaping the perfect yard, John Deere equipment turns chores into child's play. Visit your local Acres store to start shopping today. Act now. These incentives expire December 31st, 2024. Financing requirements of approved credit with John Deere Financial. Some restrictions may apply.
Everybody likes choices when it comes to gifts, and a Max Tan gift card offers spray tanning, UV tanning, and red light therapy at all Lincoln locations. Give the gift that everyone wants this holiday season by visiting any Max Tan location in Lincoln or at maxtan.net.
Your Christmas list changes a lot as you get older. Dreams of video games, remote control cars, and baseball gloves turn into dreams of shoes. You know, practical things. Brown Shoe Fit is the king of shoes in Lincoln, with brands like Sorel, Ugg, Brooks, Hoka, and more to make you fashionable and comfortable. Grab a new Ridge wallet or buy 3, get 1 free on Smart Wool socks for the ultimate stocking stuffer. And don't forget a reliable gift card for that hard-to-buy person in your life. Brown Shoe Fit at 66th and Q in Lincoln.
Automotive Solutions is Lincoln's one-stop shop for all your vehicle needs, from vinyl wraps to engine repair and maintenance. Automotive Solution offers fleet services as well as printing and graphic design for vinyl applications, plus installation of vinyl for boats, trucks, cars, and anything else you want wrapped. Perfection is their standard, and they never settle for less. Call today at 531-249-5600 or go to automotivesolutionslincoln.com to learn more. That's Automotive Solutions, 2040 Southwest 5th Street in Lincoln.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now. In our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with Taco Night on Mondays or Whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
Back to Inside the Huddle, sponsored by Advanced Medical Imaging. Here is your host, Jay Foreman.
What up? We're back. Jay Foreman inside the huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging, 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. I think next year, Harrison, everybody put it on your calendar, and obviously it's a little bit farther away. October 11th, they're going to have their second annual breast cancer walk. We will be out there. I was out there this year. It was actually a phenomenal turnout this year. And so we start at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. Get the party started out there. Probably do a live remote out there.
October 11th is a good day for it. That's usually some nice weather.
Yeah. Usually do it, I think, on a Sunday. And, they do some really good stuff on pre-screening for breast cancer. Obviously providing a lot of resources for to fight breast cancer, and obviously really put a lot of resources behind breast cancer awareness. They also do stuff for concussions for athletes, especially in the youth. And then they just started doing body comp for not only youth athletes, but people as well. I've been scared to go over there and find out what my body comp. I'll try to figure out the excuses I'm going to have when I leave, or just how disappointed I'll be in myself that I let myself go that much since I've been playing.
Yeah, who knows? It's worth checking out. I think crazy stats, like 1/3 of people are pre-diabetic. Thinking about your body comps there. It's a lot of glucose covering up all those blood cells, all the sugar just covering everything up. So get checked out.
Yeah, I know. Obviously we got a text in here. Appreciate you guys being up early on a Sunday. JP says plus Kiffin was tweeting yesterday. Yes, Lane Kiffin was definitely active, but he forgot to mention that his boy Josh Heupel didn't have his team ready to go. I understand it, from everybody's perspective. It was not a appealing or a good look for the games, but in this day and age, this is what you have to expect. This is the first year where, SMU doesn't have any experience of playing against Big Ten teams, and Big Ten teams probably have more experience playing against teams like SMU. Plus there's a talent gap. Plus you're at home, the weather. As this thing goes on, as far as the committee and seedings and stuff, this is the first year and they're going to learn, because ultimately they want more eyes to watch on TV, but then also they want a better product on the field. So, time will tell, but I'm willing to predict the next round will be extremely more competitive.
Yeah.
And Notre Dame and Georgia, that's going to be a straight street fight. I like that game.
Really?
Oh yeah. Oh, they ain't running against Georgia. Now, Georgia's offense without Beck is not very good.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I do forget the Georgia offense of that. As much crap as Beck's gotten all year.
They do.
I'll say this much. Have fun with the backup.
Here's the thing. Beck has actually played good. They just can't catch a cold. Like their receivers have the most drops in the nation.
Yeah, and Beck always gets slammed for
it. And because you're the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy. As good as he had a first-round grade, there's potential that he might come back, but they're saying if he comes back, he might not be at Georgia. That's just all talk. They're definitely going to take him back. Well, anyways, on the Husker news, we've had a lot of movement in transfer portal. I think that every time somebody goes in the portal, the reaction is this when you hear, oh, something must be wrong with the program. Why did you leave? X, Y, and Z. Now, there's probably, there's various reasons. Maybe, guys don't have the best experience, but then also when you trim down the roster and you're easily accessible by other teams, guys are going to go in the portal. We've seen guys go in the portal, go out of the portal, or go back out of the portal. We've seen guys go in the portal, excuse me, and stay in the portal and try to come back and then not be received as well. But the updates that we have, we'll just start. Dante Dowdell, who was a starting running back last year, big power back. Obviously, I think his signature play was running Shiloh Sanders over and commenced to break his forearm and really set the tone against Nebraska or against Colorado. He has committed, at least according to 24/7 Sports, to Kentucky. He'll fit in there. I think the one thing what players have to understand is like what you do well and what you need to work on is always going to be transferred. So I think for Dante, really learn how to make guys miss and being better out of the backfield to probably help him out a little bit more, especially down there in Kentucky. But he's definitely going to be able to big, strong, physical back.
He'll get you 2 yards. He'll do that.
He's going to be he's going to be a big physical back, and that's probably what Kentucky needs. They're going to try to be a little bit more physical, and he's going to definitely fit that. We were able to nab a receiver, a legit receiver, a freshman, Isaiah Hunter from Cal. Homeboy can go 6'2", 210, plays big though. plays big, and that's what you need. You need to play big. That means playing big is physical, running through contact, 50-50 catches, and then also he plays as fast as advertised. So sometimes you see guys, Harrison, that, you'll say, oh, he ran a 4.4, but there's no separation. He gets plenty of separation. He tracks the ball pretty well. And so that, if I'm Dylan Raiola, I'm pretty excited about it, first of all, and then also to go with Barney and some of the other receivers, young guys that can kind of go through the process. And also he's a legit playmaker as well. Then on the flip side, you had Nate Borkacher, who's from Aurora, Nebraska, came in as a walk-on, really good story that he's just stuck to it, has a ton of ability. Walking around at 6'5", 250 pounds that can run and catch and block, as an inline blocker. He's going down to Texas A&M.
Best of luck to him. That's a bummer. Borkacher was always a guy that just constantly got better.
Yeah, and he always rose up to the competition. I think it's a little bit easier for him to go to another place. I know he's done really well academically. So when you graduate, you feel like, okay, I've done everything I needed to do. Of course, I definitely would have liked him back. I think Dan Holgerson had mentioned him.
Yeah,
he probably and would have probably featured him. So it was kind of, I hope he gets the same opportunity down there. And I don't know what the financial stuff is. That's none of my business. But ultimately, he's a good player, good dude, good teammate as well. So he'll be missed. But you also wish him the best of luck, right? And look, I think he had a good experience here. Would have liked to finish it out, and maybe just some guys these just always want to just try something else, and so forth and so on. So we'll see. On the flip side, it would kind of go back and forth. Is Gabe Moore, 6'4", 290-pound defensive tackle from Mississippi State, right? Getting some SEC blood, obviously with Ty Robinson and Nash graduating, then obviously having Jackson going to Porter, losing Jamari Butler, losing Princewell. And then obviously we got some young guys that are coming back with Judy, and then obviously Van Poppel and Keona Davis. You get a guy that's been established in a competitive league, essentially Big Ten of the South, to come in here and not only provide some depth, but competition, potentially start. That's pretty good get for Nebraska. 6'4", legit 290 that can run is good. And look, you just got to get him in your kind of system and train him and get him adjusted, and then just go from there. But he's got good potential though.
I haven't heard you. What do you think about Terry Brad taking over that defensive line from the Chiefs?
I think for him it's a great opportunity. I think it's he's kind of worked his way up. I mean, obviously he was a quarterback at Howard, but then he came in and cut his teeth on the defense side of the ball. And so for people out there saying that a quarterback can't coach defensive line, he can. Some of the best defensive back coaches. Okay, for instance, we got Merritt coming in as a linebacker, right? His dad played linebacker, but he's a defensive back coach. So I remember thinking about when I went through like this coaching intern, and I'm thinking like, okay, they're just going to put me in at linebacker. They're like, we know you can coach linebackers. Now we want you to learn and coach defensive backs, which then will make you a better linebacker coach. So the fact that, I think he's been in Kansas City for 8 years. I think Andy Reid has done a really good job of fostering and, fostering like young coaches, developing young coaches. And when you have that championship DNA, he's not sitting. Listen, when you're assistant defensive line coach, you ain't just sitting there.
So I'm saying
you're doing a lot of the work.
Pick a fruit from that coaching tree.
I mean, I think it's a little bit easier to get a first-time college coach to take over a defensive line coming from a Super Bowl championship organization. And I'm sure he picked up stuff, and I'm sure he's like, excited about the opportunity. So it'd be interesting to see what happens, how he mixed. I think you got Coach Simpson that came back. So I think that the learning curve will be a little bit easier, because I know for a fact Coach Simpson is really, really powerful in recruiting. So then you have a good partnership right there, right? So you have kind of like I wouldn't say good cop, bad cop, but you got a guy that has the experience in the college level, recruiting a certain part of the nation, and then he can learn from him as far as like the NFL type of defensive line stuff, and then also catch up on the recruiting on his end. So it's going to be interesting to see how he does. I know that he hasn't been, I don't think he's here yet, but I think eventually he'll get here and then be able to take over. We also signed Jalen George from East Tennessee State. Really good athlete, kind of can play inside, outside, inside guy on third down. Can really, big guy, can anchor down against the run, 6'2", 265, so he can get after. So obviously, big guys, you're trying to replenish those because you're losing. When you lose James Williams to Florida State, that hurts because even though James played maybe at most 10 to 10, 12 plays a game, he was able to get to the quarterback, guy that probably liked to get back, but chose otherwise. Then we got Daniel Kalen, jumped in the portal quick, and then went to Virginia. That sucked just because I felt like I understand it. But I always say if quarterbacks, you can wait a little bit longer because everybody needs quarterbacks. And when you're a young quarterback and you haven't played, patience is the best because let's just say Nebraska gets busy in this bowl game and you play a quarter and a half. I think you improve your stock to go somewhere, potentially start. But anyways, he goes to Virginia. It's going to be in a quarterback battle, but it's a good opportunity for him right there to get on the field. And I'm sure that's what he wanted as well. So, you wish him all the best. I like it that he wasn't afraid to come down here and compete. He had a really good spring, was ultimately beat out, but ultimately, had a lot of good recruiting prowess prior to allow him to go to ACC school, which I think will put the ball up in the air a lot more frequent and give him a chance to really, really establish himself. So then you got Mekhi Bear. He went to Missouri. I think he took a visit to Miami, but then ultimately chose Missouri, so he gets to fit in there. And Missouri needed linebacker help, so the market is there. And people don't understand about the portal. It's no different than free agency or the draft. It's supply and demand. A lot of if there's a lot of teams that need linebackers, and there's not a lot of linebackers out there, all of a sudden you become a lot better. If there's a lot of linebackers that are in the pool, and only very few teams need linebackers, then all of a sudden you better be thinking about staying at home. So ultimately, the reason why I know that Missouri needed linebackers is because they also signed Jeremiah Trotter from West Virginia as well. So now they got 2 plug-and-play starting linebackers. So it lets you know the depth at Missouri wasn't very good. The playmakers at Missouri wasn't very good. So ultimately, for him, he's able to step right in and probably start. And also a big shout-out to him and everybody else that graduated as well. I think I saw Buford, Mekhi Bear, Jamari Butler, and Tommy Hill. I saw those 4 in the picture. So look, even though those guys are leaving, they definitely took advantage of the opportunity and got their paper, as we like to say. And then also the most interesting, I think, portal we got Harrison was Marcos Davila, redshirt freshman quarterback from Purdue. I was going to come in and be a backup. 6'3", 233. That's a big old boy.
Yeah, we needed it though. I was thinking about that when Kalen left. I was like, our QB room is
a little light,
bare bones right now.
A little light, and that's because Heinrich Harburg is fully
tight end now.
Converted to tight end.
Yeah, so we lost 2 just right then and there.
Yeah,
so that's good.
In a pinch, I'm sure he could go in there, but he had him. Then Matt Rule said he's practicing exclusively at.
Yeah. So if you in a pinch you could, but you're not gonna. It's gonna be pretty basic elementary.
Yeah. So, but still, to get a guy there, he got some talent. He was very well thought of, coming out of Texas, and so he was looking for a new opportunity with a new coach in Purdue. So I think it's their loss is our gain. The last one came through yesterday, which could obviously, and also I know they had another safety in from Oklahoma, but we got a commitment from Justin Rhett, 4-star from Georgia, former 4-star from Georgia. You're gonna come down and lay the smack down. So look, man, you lose Deshaun Singleton and you lose Isaac Gifford. Obviously, we have some young pups that are possibly going to play against Boston College, but you're trying to bring in some veterans. So this is going to be the way it's going to be as far as football goes for the foreseeable future. You're going to win a lot of your games and your top 56 to 60 players. And so that's got to be where the majority of the thoughts and the funds and resources go to, all while the young pups, continue to develop. But you got to bring in guys that have leadership skills, developmental skills, but then also are willing to leave a short legacy at Nebraska. There's no more 4 or 5 year guys coming in as freshmen. Well, there will be, but not. It's
a rarity.
It's going to be a rarity. You're not going to have a whole class just because of, look, you got guys that had a ton of opportunity here and they might have a better opportunity other places financially, and then they got to make a decision. So ultimately, it's going to be a transfer portal basis roster, and whoever does it and hits it is going to have a season like Indiana, or you could end up like a team that didn't like Florida State that had a ton of transfer portal guys and don't work out. And that's the risk. When you look at it, it was Ole Miss and probably Florida State or like Ohio State, Ole Miss, Florida State had supposedly a lot of guys that were going to go to the next level. 2-10. Yeah, didn't work out well for them. But what worked out well for us, we're going to take a quick break, come back, talk a little bit about Boston College, and give us everybody some Christmas wishes. Jay Foreman, Inside the Huddle. We'll be right back.
Are you a veteran looking for a new companion animal? A dog, a cat, or maybe something else? The Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs Vets Get Pets program can cover up to $350 of your pet adoption fees. Visit veterans.nebraska.gov/vetsgetpets to learn more about program requirements and how to apply. Want to help support the program? Get your Vets Get Pets specialty license plates from the Nebraska DMV. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Every home is different. Every family is different. So when it comes to a new heating and cooling system, why not get what fits you best? Get the perfect fit with Bryant. Maybe you need higher efficiency, better humidity control, increased warranty, or all the bells and whistles. Bryant provides options in warranty, brand, comfort, and efficiency while maximizing savings. Call 467-1111 or visit BryantLincoln.com. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. We do whatever it takes.
Hey, it's Chad with Nutrition Authority inviting you to stop in and check out the #1 selling complete post-workout product, CPR. CPR is ideal for anyone who works out, exercises, or competes and wants to maximize results. CPR can only be found at Nutrition Authority. Stop in today, try a free sample, or visit us at mynutritionauthority.com.
Early break. He brings him in and teaches him how to be Santa Claus.
So what do you do if like a 16-year-old wants to sit on the lap? What do you do? There's a protocol.
What do we do? How do we handle it? Not
you
so
stand.
fast.
Yeah.
This is crazy. I'm going to stand up next to you.
Clause, but not approved. Right.
Bunch of college girls.
Right. No. Becomes no.
Early break from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket.
Raising little ones is a big job, and you do your best to give them a good start every day. That means making sure they're well cared for while you're apart. You work hard, but it's not always easy to make ends meet. There may be help. Find out if you qualify for Nebraska's Child Care Tax Credit for working parents. You could be eligible for a credit of up to $2,000 per child on your next tax return. Learn more at nebraskachildcaretaxcredit.org. Brought to you by First 5 Nebraska and Nebraska Children and Families Foundation and aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
If you're a veteran, our nation has created a wide range of benefits to thank you for your service. But it can be difficult to navigate the process of determining eligibility, filing claims, appealing decisions, and securing the benefits you've earned. Speak to your County Veteran Service Officer or the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs State Service Office to see what's available to you and your family. These services are 100% free. So visit veterans.nebraska.gov today. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
At Midwest Bank, they want to thank all the generous donors who helped make their 2024 Turkey Drive for Schools a success. Thanks to the generosity, they raised enough money to provide 153 families across 6 different schools in Lincoln with a full Thanksgiving meal. With your support, they made Thanksgiving Day for those families a little brighter. They want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. Your community, your bank. Midwest Bank. Member FDIC.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
It happens. All of a sudden, you need a plumber. Just call Bryant, 467-1111. Problem solved with Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? Do you need a lawyer you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion? The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Contact us for a free consultation by calling 877-42-LIBERTY. Call Liberty Law and find out how we can help you get the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Liberty Law Group, trial attorneys you can trust.
Looking to upgrade your equipment? Landmark Implement, your John Deere dealer in Nebraska and northern Kansas, has an offer you don't want to miss. Through December, purchase a model year 2022, 23, or 24 tractor, combine, or sprayer, and take advantage of financing as low as 3.9 for 60 months. That's right. Get the equipment you need with affordable payments designed to keep your operation running strong. Stop by your local Landmark Implement today or visit landmarkimp.com to learn more. Experience the Landmark difference.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeit. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Wellman Plumbing at 402-434-2400 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-434-2400.
You're listening to Inside the Huddle with Jay Foreman, sponsored by Advanced Medical Imaging.
What up? We're back. Jay Foreman, Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging. We are 6 days away from Huskers against Boston College. Pinstripe Bowl. Obviously, Nebraska hadn't played in a while. Obviously, last game was against Iowa, and then you got to turn around and play Boston College 6-6, and you got to battle it out. And so, a program really, to be honest with you, as soon as you get back in Lincoln, you got to deal with defections and stuff like that, and that's just natural. And then just how you deal with it and how you recover from it, really sets forth the path for the next couple of weeks. I think being able to make some in-house choices and then obviously get your offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator locked down and bring in some assistant coaches and consultants, definitely. Hopefully bodes well for Nebraska. But I think on the field, when you play Boston College, the first year under Bill O'Brien, I think they've done a good job of, Boston College was picked almost dead last.
Yeah.
So I think, when you saw them play against Florida State, even though they have a different quarterback now, it lets you know that they're well coached and Bill O'Brien came in and he's done it before. Obviously going to Penn State, even when Coach Butler was with him and going there, turning around that situation, which is essentially nobody really won that job. So he's not afraid of a challenge. How does that reflect on the field? Well, I can tell you this: you're going to have tough physical kids. They're going to be disciplined and know what they're going to do. It's going to be a run first type of offense, a little bit of RPO action. They have a better throwing quarterback, and so they throw to the tight end and maybe their number one receiver. They will try to stretch the field. It's essentially the best of both worlds. They're going to line up with an extra tight end, or actually an extra lineman as a tight end, with a big tight end and just come straight at you. And then you're going to see some 11 personnel, 5 wides and stuff like that. So they're really going to test your principles and then see if they can take advantage of some of the holes that we've had, maybe like tackling in space and stuff like that. And then some of our defensive line depth being gone. So then defensively, their physicals all get out. They got a couple linebackers that are decent. One that's really stiff, I think, is number 45. Safety that's pretty good, and then they have an excellent pass rusher and probably one of the best in the nation. I think he has like 16 sacks. It's questionable whether he's going to play or just get ready for the pros. And so you got to be prepared for their best. Obviously, with the depth chart coming out yesterday, you saw a lot of new names, and you're going to see some young faces out there getting their feet wet in the bowl game of all places. But how they play and perform in the bowl game. Can really cement themselves moving forward.
There's going to be some Boston College guys on the other side
as well
that are young.
Right. So you're not playing. This is not the dummy down of Boston College, but you're not playing. Oregon. You're not having a whole bunch. So you're playing against a team and a program that's going to be trying to do the same thing. Obviously, you want to win. That's first and foremost, and you got enough players left over that. You should win as far as Nebraska goes, but then you have Boston College that feels the same.
Yeah,
and they got to improve their depth as well. So they got a lot of young guys that maybe have been, along the process, and they've had a couple weeks, and we'll have another week of practice to get ready to go on the field. And then also, Bill O'Brien is not going to sit there and stand pat at 6-6. He's competitive if it's all get out. So this is going to be a good game. And I think Nebraska, in particularly defensive, well, both. I think they've had some really good, younger recruits in recruiting classes that they weren't able to play. And you're going to see some guys. I mean, really, I think like Keelan Smith, Clark, Quinn Clark, those guys. Obviously, about Barney and all them. I think you're going to see maybe a bigger role from Carter Nelson just because of Borkature being gone.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just would assume he slides in there right behind Fedoni. Then obviously, I think you're going to see the continuation and expanded role of Emmett Johnson, and I think Ramirez back, which is great. He gets to go back home. And then defensively, you'll see some guys like Caleb Benning, and then you'll see more Vincent Shavers. So I think as much as we've seen guys leave, we've seen a little bit of the minimal splash players are going to get maximum reps. It's going to be really interesting to me, Harrison, which I think obviously Nebraska's going to win, is how some of those young guys react to it.
Yeah, year two, we're going to start seeing these guys that Matt Rule's been recruiting.
Well, saying it, that what we're going to do and then doing are two different things. So that's the great thing about it. So anyways, wishing everybody a good happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and all that stuff. For Jay Foreman and my man Harrison over here inside the Huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging. We'll holler at you next week, hopefully after a Husker victory. We're out.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get?